The great Marcus Garvey taught, if we as a people realized the greatness from which we came, we would be less likely to disrespect ourselves. We know quite clearly that it's impossible to lie when the truth is carved in stone. You can see Shiva here, Southeast Asia, or Shavi, an African truth carved in stone. But they deny facts carved on stone. Let us learn today how they deny evidence and the truth carved and written on stone, and how that has influenced us, disrespect ourselves, and end up supporting their denials. I want to look at this and the 7 steps they use to deny engraved truth that is found on stones or in stone. 1 is make academic denials. 2, hide the originals. 3, smash the noses or disfigure the evidence or change the evidence. 4, promote mulatto likes, in other words, the people that are closer to them, and they endorse early European settlers as indigenous, whether they be Greeks, Romans, or Arab, and they make and draw fake images which are popular and popularized in books, in movies, music, song, and dance, and the films. And these are the moves that they make to deny truth that is written on stone. And if we are not clever and we are not smart, and if we do not research, we will deny the evidence that points to our greatness today. So let's consider the academic lies and denials that they employ. For example, these Europeans formalized a study of a specific area. For example, they divide Africa and silently and with subtlety rename certain portions, like Middle East, which never existed, Levant, which never existed, Mediterranean race, which never existed. And then they craft other subjects like Egyptology, Hittitology, Indology, Astrology, Sumerology, or Assyriology, so that they can have their evidence under the guise of a faculty. Nubiology, which they say is the start of the ancient Nubian civilizations, including the kingdom of Kush. Nubia is the name they coin. Sudan is the name they coin. Egypt is the name they coin. And then they say Egyptology, which is a study, they say, focused on the history, culture, language, art, archaeology, religion, spirituality of ancient Egypt. And they divide that Egypt from Africa and pretend as if Egypt was not in Africa, and billions of people believe that and are misled by that. At the end of the day, in that process, they ignore history and deny truth engraved on stone. They even mumble and they don't really say it, but it's quite clear that the Greeks, when they conquered Kemet, they settled in Africa, intermarried in Africa, changed cities' names, gods, divinities, and the names of people. And they named cities like Fayum, Alexandria, Cairo, all these cities. And then this becomes the source of the DNA that they publish and publicize. And they can go on to lie straight in titles like King Tut DNA, more European than Egyptian. How can that be? How can King Tut be more European than Egyptian? And they go along and say they were kings, they were the pharaohs, and they were the queens and the rulers of ancient Kemet. They lie, even when they are looking at the stone that is denying their lie. The Romans also settled, continued the whitewashing. Arab Turks, all the Arabs from Morocco, from Mauritania, right across to Persia or Asia, they are pale, they are Europeans. They are cousins of Europeans. And then intermarriages, they produce the mulatto Arab Turks. And we know that the queens and the kings of ancient times were melanin dominant. That has never changed and that will never change. This is how they changed black African Kemet to become pale, beige, Euro-like Egypt. The Kemetians were melanin dominant with afro hair and dull Sephardic face. And then the mulatto Ptolemaic 330 BCE to 30 BCE, and then the Greco-Roman Coptic 30 BCE to 640 CE, when the pale Arabs, all of them who follow Islam, came and conquered and up to the Ottoman Empire or Ottoman Kingdom. They look like that. They are fake. They are not original. Not any who is pale and Arabic is original in Middle East or Hamid. If Europeans and they are colonizing Arab cousins, because Europeans and Arabs are cousins, as long as they are pale and not melanin dominant, there's difference there. If they can steal art and take it to Europe, what do you think they would do to images that do not resemble them? What do you think they would do to sculptures that do not resemble them? They whitewash them. They would interfere and change and whitewash Hamid they have done. And their own guardians, so-called Egyptologists who are pale Arabs, who deny facts that are like this because the original has now been whitewashed. And billions of our brothers and sisters continue to think that ancient Middle East or so-called Middle East or ancient Hamid Kush or ancient Iran, Iraq or ancient Babylon was white, which is a lie. The stones do not support that. This is what the Nubians look like. Same as Kemetians. Up to 2015, they are reproducing artifacts in universities, academic lying. It is very, very sad that we do not have governments or Ministry of Education anywhere within melanin-dominant countries that teaches these things. It's taught by independent people. Here is what Ramesses II looks like. And now when they go to the mummies, the supposed mummies of Ramesses looks like this. So fake. East African nations look like that. It's very, very clear that many random mummies were purposefully mislabeled royals by 19th century Europoids greedy for royal mummy for their museums and private collections. Hair texture and color was often altered during mummification. It is very, very clear that we are not Asiatics. We are the indigenous melanin-dominant human beings who moved out of Africa to populate Asia. This is Pharaoh Naremera. And they now colorize him, change his race, and they put him like that. All is fake. This is fake art. Academic lying. And we know because history teaches us that Pharaoh Naremera united the whole of Africa into a superpower. And that unification came about when he defeated the Asiatics and drove them out. So we are not Asiatics. We are melanin-dominant human beings. The Arabization and the whitening of ancient people continues today. This is Ma'ati before alteration by the pale Arabs, like this. And Ma'ati after alteration. And then this is what you see now in movies and in everything. The Europoid and Arabs are vigorously altering the murals of black African Kemetic nation and people, and as we can see how they do it, the archaeological hijacking of our culture, of our history, of our ancestors. And we know that out of Africa migration took all our people all over the earth, right up to China. The proof is in the stone. The proof can be seen today in archaeology. This looks like me, melanin dominant, the original indigenous Chinese. The San people of the Kalahari are the ancestors of all of these people in Far East Asia. They migrated, they moved out. They look like that. This is a human face wall hanging, Eastern China, 1000 BCE. And this is a keystone stereo view of Chinese boys plowing a field, 1930, before Mao's final solution of killing and destroying indigenous people through the misnamed Cultural Revolution. By Cultural Revolution, he was saying he was wiping out all the people that do not look like the current Chinese. Stone evidence continues. This is the portrait and stone bronze of Yu vessel of the Shang Dynasty king, and this is the chariot decoration of the Western Zhou dynasty 1100 BCE. The Shang were also known as Naqi, which literally means black Na and the man Qi. King Tiang and the Shang dynasty were responsible for the unifying of China, just like their ancestors, to form their first civilization, 1600 to 1046 BCE. This is the head of Oba Edo brass sculpture from the court of Benin in Nigeria, 16th century. They look the same, no difference at all. The Minoans in ancient Greece, looked as melanin dominant human beings. Archaeological Manfred Biatak conducted extensive research on the ancient Greek civilizations and their connections to ancient Hamite. Biatak unearthed evidence from artwork and stonework and sculpture as far as 7000 BCE that depicted the early people inhabiting the Greek islands as melanin dominant human beings. When you go to Vietnam, Thailand, all those areas, Myanmar, right up to Papua New Guinea, you find melanin dominant human beings. If you read John Baldwin's book, Prehistoric Nations, 1869, he says the early colonists of Babylonia were of the same race as the inhabitants of Upper Nile. Melanin dominant. There they are, melanin dominant Dinka Koch people wrestling, and the ancient Nubian or Cushitic people. The Kemetic culture continues in Africa, wrestling just like their ancestors. Same. This is a painted bronze vase in the form of the head of a youth. Alexandria, 200 BCE, melanin dominant. Evidence on stone cannot be denied. But this is fake. So they go and produce fake stonework. As long as it is not melanin dominant and it's a stonework, and they say it was in Hamite, whether before the arrival of the Greeks, is fake. Because the red line stopped them from ever crossing it. It was only when they breached the red line as the Persians and the Greeks in 300 BCE, thereby 330 BCE, that's when these people start to come like that. Before that, it was melanin dominant Muchokocho until infinity. It's very clear now that they put now mulatto buffer races. And they say, oh, these are the Olmecs. It's a lie. Total blue lie. Evidence on stone shows that they were melanin dominant. There were no people like this. These are mulattoes. These are Bakarad. These are a newer race, and they are trying very hard to fit them. Evidence from scholars who went there originally, they say the inhabitants of North and South America were immigrants from Africa prior to European discovery of America. They were not mulattoes. They were not Indians. They were melanin dominant human beings. Evidence on stone tells us that. So this is Ramesses III and the Fulani men, the same people. This is the original pharaoh before 333 BCE. After that, we had been conquered, and the Mamelukes and the Greeks and the Romans come in. That's the DNA they promote. Those are the images they are trying to promote, smashing and destroying the original and hiding them. Ours is carved on stone. It's still present. It's there across the whole earth. Conclusion of all this is that we own the earth as indigenous people on any part of the earth. Not specifically Africa only, but anywhere on earth, we are indigenous, orthodox, and original. Here is what Miriam Makeba, conqueror, writes history. They came, they conquered, and they write. You don't expect the people who came to invade tell the truth about us. They deny the truth engraved even on stone. Let us deny that, and let us show by working together to restore the truths linked to our actual identity all over the earth by fighting for it. Tooth, nail, and claw across all the subjects that we can think of. For more information on how you can also participate in all this restoration, send us an email on join@marifado.com. Till we meet again, remember, they deny truth engraved on stone. Yohamaneja Topi, Priest Rabbi Elem Kurukene Mjakanja Mskabanu says, let us join together and restore Marifado way, our heritage. Amen.